Hi, good evening, welcome. My name is Nicolette Mathey, a pharmacist and founder of Atrium 24. We are excited because, as you guys know, we are officially putting on our first conference called ATRIUMX. So we've had some questions come in. The content of this conference is going to be, there's some traditional pieces that we'll all recognize and feel comfortable with, and then there's some really new and different pieces to this conference that we wanted to bring to the independent pharmacy conference circuit. So we're excited. That's kind of the part that I hope to go over tonight. And if you guys have any logistics questions or things like that, we can dive into that. Interestingly, what prompted the whole need for us to put on a conference is just like you guys, I've been attending pharmacy conferences for a long time. And they're great and you get a lot from them. And the typical structure of like the big conferences where there's different presentations, PowerPoint presentations that were prepared months in advance, and they went through a CE committee and removed a lot of like the financial numbers, or removed the companies that these pharmacies worked with, or removed the actionable pieces to make them accreditable for CE. So that's not my favorite. So I prefer something that's not a CE. That way the speaker can tell you exactly what they did in their store. So there's that. But two, kind of that one-to-many presentation from the stage isn't always the most beneficial thing that you get from the conference, right? So even as we've been hosting little mixers and little events, a lot of times what I hear from pharmacy owners and what I experience myself is, I got the best idea at the lobby bar, or I found somebody and was able to talk to them and they implemented sterile compounding. It could be something huge like that. It could be something small, like we figured out how to do a performance improvement program for one of my team members, or whatever it is. You're just talking with like-minded people. So up until now, those encounters are often curated by chance. So it just is a matter of who did you sit next to at the lunch table, and did you go through the proper questions to, uncover that, oh, they did this really cool thing in their pharmacy that I want to try, or maybe they're kind of struggling through something that we did last year in my pharmacy that I could help them with. But we know we love to be able to like put new connections in our phone and then go back home and be able to text that person or email that person or just make that connection. They'll make a warm introduction to a company that you want to work with, or you can even compare pricing on certain products. No collusion, of course. We've been warned of that. But those are the most beneficial points of the conferences, I find, and I hear a lot. So to put on this conference, I've resurrected a lot of the old PDS team who I used to work with for a long time, because PDS put on a great conference. So this conference is very different than the PDS Super Conference, but any of you OGs like me, you'll see some pieces, some bits and pieces there that that worked really well, that we're taking along with it. So one of the things, if you see on our social media, we announced today that we're having the MC, Scotty B. He has emceed a lot of different pharmacy events over the years, but he's a really great facilitator too, keeps the energy going, keeps the momentum going in the room, the transitions, he just makes it fun. So Scotty B is going to be there. Now we also have professional facilitators for our unique content. So the facilitators are Kelly Babcock and Terry Norvell. They are esteemed business coaches. They still work with pharmacy owners around the country. They have a company now called Leadership Growth Formula. And so they work a lot on like retreats and like corporate, leadership and culture and motivation and things like that for your teams. So they're going to be there. And then also Jen Deal, who she is a numbers gal, and she's a great facilitator as well. So she's a CPA, I believe, and she works with some pharmacies around the country too. But the whole purpose of all that is Marie, who is on our production team, And I worked with Marie at PDS. She works on a lot of different kind of behind the scenes pharmacy projects. Super smart lady. Marie came across this author, Adrian, and he has a format for conferences that's been done in other industries, but never in our pharmacy industry. And essentially, it is like crowdsourcing content. So we're pretty excited to use Adrian's format that he's been doing for over 30 years in different industries, and we're bringing it to the pharmacy industry. So on night one, and let me share this schedule with you guys so that you can see. It's tentative, of course, we're still making tweaks, but I think this will help with, here we go, with you linear folks like me. So this is the event schedule. The conference will be held at Margaritaville Resort in Orlando. So it's a fun, intimate resort, and I'll tell you more about that facility, and it's on the website. But on Thursday, February 27th, we're having an afternoon start so that hopefully folks can fly into Orlando Thursday morning. And then you'll register, you'll see the exhibits. We'll have about 15, 20 exhibits, not a ton. We've brought some really interesting and unique exhibitors there. Some that are just solid exhibitors that really uphold our industry. So we'll talk more about that. But the opening general session will start at 3. And then we're going to do small groups, so discovery and voting. So there's a very specific format where we will physically poll, and Scotty will say, like, if you're a compounding pharmacy, go over here. If you are a long-term care pharmacy, go over here. Do any of you do sterile compounding? So it's a very participatory event. And then you'll be able to kind of meet and visually identify and talk with, make notes on the people you want to talk with during the conference based on how they move around the room, and how we're able to learn about each other's pharmacies. We only have room for about 100 attendees at the conference, so we will sell out. We do still have room if you guys still want to sign up and get your tickets. We're not sold out yet, but I anticipate, just with all the vendors kind of advertising the conference and all the groups getting the words out, the tickets are starting to sell at an increased rate. So it'll be a set number of people, so that we can kind of know who's there for the conference. We can say, oh, I want to talk to that person because, you know, they have the RX Safe robot that I'm interested in, or they got into sterile compounding, or whatever it is. So in the small groups, we will physically poll and see kind of where everybody's from, how long they've been in business. There's like a list of questions to just kind of like parse out who's there. And then we break up into small groups that our facilitators take the groups, and that's when we vote. So there's a very specific structure on, we're going to vote, what do we want these breakout sessions to be during the conference? So everybody kind of votes, and they say, you know, what are things you guys want to talk about? And if you have ideas, you can pop them in the chat, because we're already starting to reach out to certain subject matter experts to make sure they're in attendance, make sure they can lead these breakout sessions. But probably people want to talk about things like telemedicine, or perhaps they want to talk about the long-term care at home billing. Maybe they want to talk about, I would say reimbursements. We'll just have to tread lightly on that, because we only want to talk about things that we can do something about, that we can have some control over, or that we can guide in our businesses. But everyone will be voting here and kind of discovering about their pharmacies and seeing who they want to network with and who they want to work with and talk with while we're at the conference. And so then we'll have the welcome reception and the exhibits on Thursday night. And the conference team, myself, the facilitators, our production crew, we will be behind the scenes kind of tallying the votes and seeing who we have in attendance as far as subject matter expertise, and then scheduling the breakout sessions for Friday, if that makes sense. So on Friday, we start with breakfast and exhibits. Then this is what most of my Atrium pharmacies want to talk about, 503Bs. I've been vetting more 503Bs. We've also been increasing the products. So we not only have GLPs now in our 503B GPO that we've put together, we have ED medications, TRIUMX. We have all different injectable vitamins, peptides. We have sterile eye drops coming into the GPO, the group. So really exciting stuff there. And as most of you know, if you look at GLPs in the legal landscape, tirzepatide is kind of in a gray area with the shortage potentially ending. And so there's an off-ramp period, and FDA has stated that 503A pharmacies have to stop compounding and dispensing tirzepatide commercial copy February 18th. It's really interesting because there is still an open lawsuit going on with the FDA and the OFA, the Outsourcing Facilities Association, which is the group of the 503Bs. And so we are looking at it. It's very legal and very above my pay grade, but there may very well be a way for pharmacies to continue dispensing it after February 18th, completely legally and above board, of course. So I am working to get a panel of some esteemed attorneys who are involved in these matters to come and talk to us and tell us exactly what we need to know. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. That's a fluid situation, and that's the perfect instance for why we want this real-time crowdsourced content, because things are changing every day, and we are not preparing slideshows in advance. We are going to be talking about and asking questions and like collaborating everyone about what exactly is going on right now in real time. So we'll have the first breakout session. There'll be multiple at a time, depending on what folks vote on. So the first breakout sessions, then of course, coffee break, another round of breakout sessions for different topics, lunch and exhibits. And the resort is beautiful, by the way. I physically went and visited multiple resorts in Orlando, and Margaritaville, as you can imagine, is so much fun. And we'll get into that too. So staying on site, there's a lot to do, and it's beautiful. So we'll have lunch there, do the exhibits, afternoon breakout sessions. Then we have an expert panel. So there's some innovations in long-term care and billing. There's going to be a reveal of a new piece of technology at our conference from one of our esteemed vendor partners. So that's happening in the afternoon. And then after the break, we have another breakout session. And then we have exhibits and open collaboration. And just on this call, I'm working on something for Friday night. I'm working on a field trip. It's not ready for prime time yet. I can't announce it. But if we could do it, that would be a lot of fun. So I'll keep you guys updated there too for the Friday night field trip. And then on Saturday, we have breakfast and exhibits in the morning. And then we have general sessions and exhibits. And then we're going to end actually around lunchtime, so that, you know, now you're in Orlando on Saturday, you can catch a flight home and make it home at a reasonable hour on Saturday if you'd like. That way this conference isn't dragging on, and minimally you could just come in Thursday morning and leave Saturday afternoon, and just have to stay, Thursday night, Friday night. If you do want to maximize your time in Orlando, you could stay the rest of the weekend. You could go to the parks. The hotel has shuttles to Disney and Disney Springs and all the parks. It's also walking distance to this place called Sunset Walk. And that's a really neat, just local like shopping and restaurants and music that's on site. Of course, Margaritaville has pools and hot tubs and things like that for the family. It's going to be February though, so no promises. No promises on the weather, but I probably can promise that at least it'll be nicer than up north. So that's kind of the schedule. I know I get a lot of questions about that. It's subject to change. So, you know, take that with what you will. But the breakout sessions, that's what we're looking to incorporate the most of, and where we're kind of making sure we have the proper subject matter experts. I mean, if you guys want to talk about culture or leadership or implementing like these incentive programs in your business, you could certainly vote on that, because absolutely with Kelly and Terry and Jen, we have those powerhouses that if we want to, if the folks who are in attendance want to tap into that, you can. If you want to tap into compounding expertise, 503B, sales and marketing, of course, we're going to have a ton of sales and marketing there because we have the Dottie team and the Atrium team. So that's all kind of up for grabs too. So let me share. This is the site. I put it in the chat. If you go to our homepage, atrium24.io, on the top, there's ATRIUMX conference. So it's February 27th through March 1st. That's why we say the conference that puts you in control. You create the content. What we're trying to do, and obviously we need your help, is we're trying to make a different conference. We're trying to curate those conversations. You know, a lot of times you'll have the best conversations in the hallway, or the best conversations in the lobby bar, or at the lunch table. And those are awesome, and you should still continue to have those conversations. And ideally, you can curate and be in the same small group as people who want to talk about the same things that you do, or the people who have the, I say, like sister pharmacies, right? Sister businesses to what you have. And that way you could really kind of open up and ask questions and get answers and share knowledge and information, and even take it to the next level, right? So continue talking to these people, make them part of your tribe, and having these curated sessions in other industries, it's worked really well. So we want to try it out in the pharmacy industry, and we need your help. Nala asked a question. It would be great to have someone talk about adding a clinic into a pharmacy, something like an NP or a naturopath who can leverage a compounding business. That would be really interesting. So I'm just trying to go through my Rolodex in my mind to think who's done that and who could speak to that. So that's a great idea. And definitely, if you guys have things in mind that you'd like to talk about, if you want to put them in the chat, if you want to email them to me, we can kind of curate and make sure that we have those ideas in the hopper, so that we can have those sessions in the breakouts. So we talked about our facilitators, Kelly, Terry, Jen. I mean, I'll be there, of course. The Atrium team will be there. We'll be more running our booth and running our Dottie software, speaking to sales and marketing, should folks want to talk about it. But we have a lot of expertise there. So we talk this, and this is what we talk about here, like cutting edge, peer-driven insights, hands-on interactive sessions, a network of pharmacy owners and leaders. And depending on the topics too, we are letting the exhibitors know that we may bring them in on some of the breakouts if it's appropriate. Now, if one of the breakouts is folks want to talk about what is the best company I should work with for this very specific thing, we wouldn't invite the exhibitors into that conversation. But if it makes sense, and in the small groups, you know, they determine that, yes, I do want to bring in that accountant. Yes, I do want to bring in that lawyer. That's something that we can do. So this part I've been getting some questions on it. Okay, the hotel. So it's Margaritaville Resort Orlando, and you can click here to check out the resort. We have a room block, and the room rate is $219 a night, plus the resort fee and some tax. Pretty reasonable rate based on other conferences and what we were seeing in the Orlando area. But what happens is when you buy your ticket, so anywhere on the page, if you click like register today, it takes you to our ticketing platform. The price for each ticket is $750. We tried to make it as reasonable as possible. And where we were able to land is $750 a ticket. I know, you know, most conference tickets are up well over $1,000. So we tried to get it as reasonable as we could. So that's for each ticket, $750. It's got the dates and everything here. Now it says here, this the hotel rate and all this. Once you click register now, you'll fill out, it's just pretty much some basic information about your pharmacy. I think there's a dietary question on there. But when you check out and when you put in your information, like your name and your pharmacy name and your contact information, you will get an email. You'll get an automatic email from this SimpleTix site. And in that email is a form that you'll fill out for your hotel, if that makes sense. So we're not having folks just go straight to the Margaritaville to register, because then you might not get the room rate, you might not get in our room block. And we can kind of watch them and make sure that the hotel has them in the proper rooms and the proper prices and things like that. So you'll fill out, it's an Airtable form if you guys are familiar with that. It's just like an online spreadsheet. So as soon as you register, you'll get an email. You'll fill out the form for your hotel. That way you could put if there's like multiple people in the room or if you need multiple rooms or whatever it is. And then once we give that information to the hotel, that's when you'll get your official hotel confirmation email. But anytime you have any kind of questions, we have a general conference inbox that the conference team is monitoring and working out of. And I just put it in the chat, conference@atrium24.io. So I'm going to click allow to talk on everybody. And if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to ask any questions, if you want to come off mute, you can. If I didn't cover anything that you were hoping that I would tonight, but that's pretty much the gist of it. It's going to be, I think it's going to be really great. I think the caliber of people that we're bringing in is going to lend to some just really just inspiring conversation. And then that'll lead to action once you get back into your stores. So a question came in from John, curious to know, will you survey what topics we want to discuss after we register for the conference? That way the only actual participants can steer the content. Yeah, so that's a good question. And that's a very, it's very structured the way that Adrian handles it and the way that he handles the voting and the way that he makes sure that it's for the actual attendees who are there. So me being kind of OCD, it's like, oh man, I really am used to having like a run of show minute by minute with all the content. But with this type of format, you don't, because it's supposed to be collaborative. It's supposed to be real time. It's supposed to be like, this just happened. We just got a new president. We just got a new administration. This just happened with the FDA. And this many folks here at the event right now want to talk about it. So it is a pretty intricate system, and we have Adrian as a consultant for our show, and so he's going through and training our facilitators. He's there's even like questions that the facilitators ask, questions about where you want to be in your business, what kind of change you want to implement, what kind of struggles you're having. So it's a very driven kind of retreat style, very focused and intentional conference. So I'm excited. I'm excited to have, we have some of our traditional content blocks. We know what some of the hot topics are already. So we're bringing in those folks. We're going to talk about it. We're bringing in those exhibitors. And we're having kind of this organic appeal as well as to what is on the mind of the folks that are in the room right now. What's keeping you up at night or what's exciting to you. And then let's talk about that and let's kind of hash that out with other like-minded smart people in the room. I did want to ask about telemedicine too. I've been vetting actually for 8 months. I've been vetting a telemedicine solution. So working with the 503Bs, I've learned a lot about telemedicine. I've learned a lot about fulfillment pharmacies. I've learned how HIMSS and HERS and Romans and IVIM and Tri-Eden and Moki and all those companies work, right? And there is a play for independent pharmacies, brick and mortar pharmacies, to enter into that market, but to do it with a local flair. But interestingly, most of the telemedicine companies they're not structured for that. They're structured for like a telemedicine platform where they use all their own doctors and they all funnel to one fulfillment pharmacy, right? And that one fulfillment pharmacy is like essentially closed door, and they just do a few SKUs and they ship to the whole country. So it's been interesting to try to find a telemedicine platform that's compliant, that has providers licensed in every state, but that you can use in your independent pharmacy. So what do I mean? What would the need be for this? Well, let's say that you are, promoting your compounds. Maybe even it's methylene blue. Maybe it's, pain creams, maybe cash pain creams. Maybe it's whatever you're trying to promote. Maybe it is the weight loss medications, the semaglutide, the tirzepatide. Maybe you're trying to do some MIC or B12 injectable vitamins, a couple peptides. Maybe you're trying to do, there's a lot of different things you could do. So you get the point. So then you start to market on your social media. Hey, we have these products or these compounds, or you do bag stuffers in your store, or, patients just find out that you're doing these things. And they say, oh, my doctor belongs to a hospital group and they don't write for that stuff. Or, oh, my doctor isn't familiar with that compound. Or I don't have a primary doctor, right? How many times do we hear this? So they say, do you have somebody that could write for it? And Nala, this might go into your question too, like having an NP on site to leverage the compounding business. So what you could do and what we found is a system where there's a telemedicine company. You get your own link or your own URL that's for your pharmacy. You set up your own telemedicine through this company, and you on the back end put your formularies in there. So these are the products that I have, these are the compounds that I have, these are the strengths, the sizes. So you put those in there. Now, if your patient says, do you have somebody that could write this compound for me? Do you have someone that I could see for this? You could put it on the website. You can embed it into your website and have a whole page that explains what it's all about. You can advertise it in your social media, in your email letters, your bag stuffers, whatever it is. I even have clients who have in-store signage with a QR code. So the patient could be in the store, and it could be even something for like an acute, almost like an urgent care type thing. If it's appropriate for telemedicine, that's my asterisk there, right? Some things need a physical exam. But if it's appropriate for telemedicine, and a lot of things are, then the patient, they go online, they either get seen right then or they schedule. And it's very seamless. We've piloted it out in my own small fulfillment pharmacy as well. And it's been working really well. We have it embedded in our website. We advertise it on our social media. So the patient gets seen. And then if it's clinically appropriate, the telemed prescriber prescribes the medication, and it goes straight to your pharmacy. And they know that it goes to your pharmacy and they know your formulary because it's your link. Like that's how it came through. And so if it's appropriate and if that's what the patient wants, the prescription goes to your pharmacy. And then you fill the prescription, and actually the communication to the patient is very good from the telemedicine platform, texting them and emailing them information, letting them know what's going on. And then your pharmacy just lets the patient know, oh, I got a prescription from Dr. So-and-so, and this is the price of the medication. Or do you want to pick it up? Do you want us to deliver it to you, ship it to you, whatever it is? Because this kind of thing, you can ship it, if you're not billing insurance and if you're not dictated by your radius, because it's an online telemedicine, you can ship to your entire state or whatever states you're licensed in. So you could really expand your market here. So then how the payment works is you add the telemedicine fee of $49 to the prescription, and you have it itemized out as a line item. And that's what I'm hoping one of our attorneys will come talk about at the conference, like very specifics. So let's say the prescription is $129, and then the telemedicine fee is $49. So you'll have that itemized on the receipt. And then your pharmacy has an account with the telemedicine. So it's all very specific as to what it's for. Because I guess that came up in the law recently, that some of these patients who are signing up for these online like weight loss subscription programs, and it comes with telemedicine and it comes with the medication and it comes with shipping. The law is requiring that it all be itemized so the patient knows what they're paying for. So just little things like that. But just making sure that there's documentation for proper patient prescriber relationship and all those things is what we've been pouring over and making sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. So I'm really loving this telemedicine platform. We did have them make a couple tweaks and a couple changes just compliance wise before we would bring it to my store and before we would put it into our like GPO ecosystem for our pharmacies. But we'll talk about that at the conference too. So does anybody have any questions about the telemedicine or anything else really? Maybe now more than ever is when we need to get together and kind of see what we're doing. Because we all have incredible opportunity. We just have to focus on that opportunity and we have to execute. So that's pretty much all I got for today. If you have questions, if you think of something later, or if you're going through the registration process or you're going through the website, and something pops up, email us conference@atrium24.io. But we're super excited to have you guys there. We've been having some really exciting registrations come through. I'll see folks sign up and buy a ticket. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited they're going to be there. And I start thinking about all the things they do in their pharmacy and how I can't wait to match make them with everybody who's going to be in attendance. So it's going to be fun. So thank you guys so much. Yes, we're excited too. Have a great night. Thank you.